Claire, last night, Travis Green said it's disheartening. He seemed really down. The Senators have had a chance to sleep on it, come back. What do you make of how they are now digesting being down 3-0 in this series?
Well, I really think it's hard for the Senators to avoid the fact they are down 3-0, and they know that they're in a win or go home situation. A lot of questions about the fact that, okay, you have to win 4 in a row if you want to move on to the next round. But their approach is one game at a time. We heard Thomas Chabot say they're not looking too far in advance. They're trying to keep a positive mindset. He said it was tough going to sleep last night because you've got the game that you just lost in overtime in your minds. But the fact is, I don't think they think they're playing that poorly, and they are, I'd say, a bit optimistic about the fact that they have lost the last 2 games in overtime. It's bittersweet. They know they're that close, but they also know they've lost. So I can see them just taking a 1 game at a time approach. That's what they're saying. Whether they can mentally do that or not is another question. And Mark, when it comes to your team, there's also some uncharted territory, as how often do the Leafs find themselves up 3-0 in a series in the playoffs?
It hasn't happened since 2001 against the Senators. History repeating a little bit, but certainly in this era, they had never been up 2-0 in a series. So I feel like they handled that pretty well. I mean, listen, Ottawa came out pretty strong last night, as you thought they would, as you knew they would, facing the O2 hole, coming back here for the first home playoff game in this building since 2017. And the Leafs took that punch, hung in there, went down, trailed in the series for the first time, stormed back, saw Ottawa tie it late again, and again collected themselves to win in overtime. So it's a very business-like approach for the Leafs. They're saying all the right things right now, like the 4th game is going to be the hardest to win. Got to keep our foot on the gas. Got to show some killer instinct. It's just been very calm, matter of fact, for the Maple Leafs right now, and that's the same vibe after Game 2, same vibe after Game 3. Now, do we have to talk about warm-up?
Yeah, I was going to say it's almost comical, but maybe it is a good welcome distraction for the Ottawa Senators. Why don't you start here?
Okay, so in case you haven't heard the big story, or at least one of the stories, I'm not sure if it's a big story, but Nick Cousins, he sent a couple pucks in the direction of his old buddy, old teammate with the Florida Panthers, Anthony Stolarz, during warm-ups here. I actually saw it before Game 2 as well. He came on the ice. Stolarz, of course, stretches just at the red line, right at center ice, and Cousins just kind of flipped a puck at him. Of course, they have that pre-existing relationship. Anyway, somehow someone told the league. Now they're investigating and looking into this, and that was a big talking point down here. It was just interesting because, like, no one seemed all that too concerned about it, and I was thinking maybe this is a good thing for Ottawa. Like, it's a different story, a different, more lighthearted story considering the situation they're in. Like, what was your sense?
Well, I think it's funny that it was Nick Cousins because the reason they went out and got him in the offseason, he won a Stanley Cup with Florida. Stolarz did as well, but he's a pesky player. He's kind of got that Ridley Gregg attitude. He likes to get under players' skin. I'm sure that was what his technique was in warm-ups, and when we asked Travis Green about that today, he said, yeah, you know what? I did talk to Nick Cousins about it, and he said, yeah, I know him, and it's a game within the game. And then Green also reminded the media, well, maybe not reminded, but let us know that he thinks this happens more often than usual. Now, we haven't had a chance to talk to Nick Cousins, but I do think it could be a welcome distraction. I mean, if I'm on the Senators' side and looking at the Leafs, I'm kind of thinking, well, who reported this? Is it that big a deal that Nick Cousins was lobbing soft shots at Stolarz to try to get under his skin or into his head? And they really need to do something to try to distract Stolarz because he's playing awesome so far in this series.
I appreciate you not mentioning Travis Green's first answer, which was to my question, where he's like, well, Mark, it's an active investigation, so I probably shouldn't weigh in. You know, I'm being advised that I should be careful with what I say. You know, it was a pretty funny moment. Very well played by the coach.
It's all over social media. I didn't even need to bring it up. It's going viral right now on Bar Down.
But Craig Berube, funny enough, he didn't do it at the podium, but after he left the podium, he told a pretty funny story about warm-ups back in his day and Ron Hextall and how he got into it. Ty Domi was involved, taking shots at much harder shots than what we saw from Nick Cousins back in the 90s there in warm-ups. A lot different. That the league would look into.
Drilling pucks at players.
He didn't want to do it at the podium, but he said afterwards, he's like, this story is too good not to tell. So, lighthearted around here, considering the stakes, the Senator season being on the line. So maybe it's a good thing for them. It's not the worst thing for the Leafs either. Just a kind of a light mood here. It's just a strange twist for the Battle of Ontario, right? Where, Stolarz said it was going to be a bloodbath, and I don't think he thought that it would be soft shots at him more that would be the bloodbath.
Yeah, he's got like little scratches is somewhere. One thing I also want to touch on, though, Mark, is the atmosphere at the Canadian Tire Centre. We knew that fans were going to be excited for playoff hockey here for the first time since 2017. There were a lot of questions on how much blue we'd be seeing in the arena, given in the regular season. It's a bit of a takeover, but I was impressed. It was about, I'd say, 85% Senators fans, 15% Leafs fans. The players really addressing that it was a special environment for them to play in. And I don't know how much you talk to Leafs players about atmosphere, because at this point you guys are really used to seeing the playoffs, but for the Senators, they were saying they were coming out onto the ice getting goosebumps. A lot of them, it really hit them during the national anthem when they looked around and just saw how many people were singing. David Perron mentioned it, he thinks it got them off to a good start, but hopefully tomorrow, assuming there are still a lot of Senators fans that believe that they can win this game on Saturday night, Perron said, I hope we can kind of harness that energy for a little longer into the game, because I think it petered out as the game went on.
And I'm not sure they're going to have as big an edge in fan support on Saturday. Of course, they're down 0-3. It's now a Saturday night game. Maybe more Leafs are going to get into the building knowing that there's a potential sweep going on here. But yeah, it was electric in this building last night. Some creative chants. Of course, there's the Matthews sucks, which was in reaction to Brady sucks in Toronto. But how about Matthews is balding?
Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
I just want to say, Leafs fans, where are your chants at that are a little bit more creative, okay?
Yeah. Well, maybe if this goes to Game 5, we'll see the Leafs fans cook something up. But I got to tell you, Sens fans, it did not work, because Austin Matthews came through with his first goal of the series in the third period, won the faceoff that led to the overtime winner by Simon Benoit. So he did not mind the chants. Maybe he didn't even hear them. I asked Matthew Nyes about it. He said he didn't hear them. Obviously, you're in the emotion and passion of the game. But we certainly heard him up in the press box, and Matthews delivered. Mitch Marner delivered an incredible assist on Matthews' goal there. That was a big talking point for the Leafs after the game. So great atmosphere. Sens should be proud, but it did not seem to rattle the Leafs really all that much, even if it did give Ottawa a boost at the start of that game.
Yeah, and I just saw the people at the Canadian Tire Centre putting the towels out for Game 4, which will be on Saturday, and we'll see if they're swinging them into light or possibly waving them in surrender.